Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. 2020 looks like it's going to be implementing some incredibly important mechanics and core tech to Star Citizen's persistent universe. And today I wanted to talk about the physical trifactor of Physicalized Components, Physicalized Damage, and Physical Inventory and what it brings to the game. I talked to various devs at CitizenCon 2019. That, along with what CIG were talking about towards the end of 2019, I would expect to see the implementation of some of these in at least some form, probably actually all of these in at least some form, throughout 2020. Physicalized components. So currently we have ship customization in game, but components are effectively artificial, and you can add and change them, but they are not interactable with on your ship. They can't be detached. You can't sort of like damage them by shooting them with a pistol, pew, 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 while you're next to them. Also, ships currently have health pools. Once the ship or a core section of the ship is destroyed, then the ship is also destroyed, boom, and it kills the crew with sort of like a kill box. Physicalized components will mean that components in ships are actually there. So you have the shield generator, you have the power plants, you have all the individual thrusters, all of that sort of stuff is then its own item, but also hooked up to and into the ship and interacts with all the other systems on board. But they are also items that are movable and exist in their own right, allowing you to individually destroy and replace them by hand if they're small enough, and those components, if they get damaged, they will have an effect on your ship. We have that to an extent at the moment, but it's very, very, very sort of like placeholder and basic currently. Ships won't have artificial health pools once we have physicalized components. Destroying a ship's engines will leave it crippled. Destroying a power plant, or all of its power plants, will leave it disabled. This damage can obviously be repaired in some form, but damage to these items will impede function and cause more misfires, sort of like now as well. We do have misfires admittedly, but also this allows for much more of a range of interaction with ships, environments, and damage types. It also allows for a much greater range of items and components in general and how they're handled in the game. So you'll see eventually thruster sets changeable, armor plating purchasable for ships. You will also see lots and lots of more customization for ships once we have physicalized components, because I suspect that is one of these sort of like bottlenecks or blockers for them doing the deeper customization system and aftermarket customization for ships. This is also a prerequisite for hand repair mechanics and subcomponents. So hand repair or multi-tool repairing, first implementation is likely to be an attachment you put on the multi-tool, and then you can maybe fix holes in the hull of a ship, or you can interact with a component with the multi-tool, or mess around with components in another component and press buttons or whatever to repair a component, to service it, and then replace the component entirely if you need to. Subcomponents are another thing that we need physicalized components for, and something that CIG have been working on. This gives certain items, be they mining lasers or shield generators, an amount of sub-item slots. This is then based on their size, type, manufacturer of the component, all that sort of stuff. These sub-items can then be used to affect an item's stats further, with bonuses and potentially downsides. There is a class of consumable item that may fit in those slots as well that CIG have been working on, but it basically gives us huge amounts more customization for our ships. So the second major thing I wanted to talk about here is the physical damage system. This is incredibly important to physicalized components as well, but this has projectiles and weapon damage affecting shields, armor, hulls, and components of a ship differently based on the type and actually where the ship is struck. So a ballistic round might penetrate through a shield partially and then be stopped by the ship armor, or harmlessly pass through the hull of a ship if it doesn't hit a component, but it might pierce the hull of a ship and hit multiple components, causing damage or destroying something. Different damage types will damage shields and armor more or less, or do additional status effects. This should see EMP and distortion weapons much more appropriately implemented after we have this in-game. They are also tying this to general physics reworks that they're doing, so using the physics engine to create a system that looks spectacular as well as behaves realistically when objects such as ships are being damaged by weaponry or colliding with other ships or locations or planets, or bits of debris or asteroids or whatever. They want everything to look great and act appropriately based on the damage type. With physicalized damage and physicalized components together, you'll see like armor and shields making a real difference in combat. You actually see armor to purchase potentially. Your choice of components and weapons will be incredibly important. But also what's going to be incredibly important is which systems on a ship you target. You might be able to have a much more in-depth sort of like subsystem targeting than we currently have. And going after a particular system on a ship is going to be how you win a lot of engagements in combat, taking out someone's power plant, taking out someone's engines, rather than trying to just pummel their ship in every angle. Some battles with larger ships may be about attrition and just disabling the shields, power, and thrusters over a long period of time. It will allow the flight and combat mechanics to be balanced much more as intended, which I think is one of the most important things to get in a working state at this stage. At the earliest possible stage, really, we want the best possible flight mechanics, best possible ship combat in a game that is mostly about flying and ships. Deeper repair mechanics should make use of these systems, and hulls may well be treated as components that can be repaired as well. We're also likely to see the sort of like more modular changes to ships here as well. Modularity is obviously incredibly important for ships and their customization, and it makes sense that they'll do this at a similar time, or at least after they've got the Physicalized Components system in, so that we can appropriately change large rooms in our ships for different functions. So potentially we'd see the Caterpillar modules sort of like be revealed and be available, that sort of stuff. The physical damage system's also going to affect FPS armor and equipment as well. You'll see different damage and ammo types, you'll see environmental damage, you'll see armor to protect against different types of weapons and environments, and damage to your sort of armor could damage a subsystem or suit system, or your EVA ability, something like that as well. Talking about armor, physical inventory and storage is the last of the trifecta I wanted to talk about. So Star Citizen has a personal commodity inventory system which stores harvestables and hand minables that players pick up at the moment. Your armor affects the amount that you can carry, and there are even armors with backpacks allowing you to carry a lot more. But if you've got heavier armor on, typically you've got more storage capacity. This is a step towards a proper inventory system. The personal commodity system will likely be replaced or evolve into some form of more backpack and pocket orientated management tool. That's my expectation there. Currently, however, we carry everything in a magic bag of holding, and we just sort of like equip it with our Mobiglass whenever we want it from the cloud. We can switch it at will, but in the future, you're only going to be able to have what you physically have in your hands, or you are wearing, or is attached to your character, or is in your pockets or backpack available to you. This physical inventory won't be massive either. It will be much more restrictive. Armor and clothing will have attachment points and pockets, allowing certain items to be placed there. We will have backpacks and item holders as well, but you can't store a rocket launcher in your pocket. With this system, you won't be able to haul around a dozen guns and all your environmental protection armor. This will instead be stored on your ship or in your hab. You may have weapon and armor racks or lockers for storage. You'd need to change into the armor or EVA suit or whatever there, or carry it around, I suppose, in your hands potentially. One of the other things that CIG want to do is encourage players to wear clothing rather than constantly in their combat gear, so expect something here to encourage that. When shopping, you'll have the choice of carrying an item out of the store or putting it on immediately, or having it sent to a ship or storage location. This has connections to physicalized habs and rentable storage, the dynamic economy. It allows for the looting of players and NPCs as well. So obviously looting is going to be quite important in general. Really, we need full persistence in before we get physical inventories, as this then tracks more appropriately where items are in the new iCache system and can deal with them much better on the server. But these are some of the most important next steps for Star Citizen, allowing for much deeper gameplay, and a lot of the systems that are in-game that are placeholder or are rating these sort of mechanics, I suppose, to get in a much better place. Hopefully, anyway. We really do need ship combat to be in a good place, and this sort of like, these systems allow ship combat and a lot of other stuff to be balanced more correctly, and sort of like remove the blockers, preventing them working on other systems that get the game into a state that is significantly more playable, in my opinion. But what do you think? Do you think, like me, these systems are a priority for CIG, for the persistent universe in 2020? We know that originally the commodity inventory system was supposed to be the first stage of physical inventory, and in fact they wanted physical inventory in at that point, but they had to sort of like put the commodity inventory system in instead because they didn't have enough time to develop a full inventory system, I think. Physical damage systems were planned for completion for Squadron 42's needs in Q4 2019, so that might actually already be completed, at least for Squadron 42's needs. We also know that the physical and sort of sub-component systems have seen a lot of work over the last few months as well. But do you think we could see all of these in 2020? Do you think that this will mark a significant improvement in gameplay and potentially get ship combat in a much better place? How do you think the economy will evolve with a proper inventory system and not being able to carry everything with you as standard? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a Star Citizenship giveaway for December, and to celebrate 2019, we are giving away a Carrack, the mighty explorer ship. It does also come with that Pisces and the Urza Rover 2. To be in for a chance of winning that, all you need to do is comment on any of my videos made during this month of December. Only one of your comments counts per video. Full details down below. A quick bit of shilling as well. Shadow provide remote access to high-spec gaming PCs as a subscription service, so you don't need to maintain your own gaming PC. You can leverage the power of your internet to turn your phone, tablet, laptop, or home PC into a monster. They are taking pre-orders for their new hardware configurations, scaling for 4K gaming, up to 32 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce Titan RTX, which I am very much looking forward to playing Star Citizen on. Links below, and use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. There is also an additional offer if you are in the US as well, that you get basically 50% off, and you can even use my BoredGamer code on top of that as well for additional discount. I also use NordVPN, which I've decided to continue to support, as they appear to have one of the best VPN services currently available at an affordable price. If you're looking for a VPN, consider them. Links below. Thank you so much for watching my video to the end. If you would like to share my video, comment, subscribe, like, all that sort of jazz, ring the bell, that all helps content creators. Also, if you want to further support the channel even more, there's Patreon, there's direct donation, there's the YouTube join button as well, which gives you access to some more sort of like exclusive content from me. Thank you very much for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the verse.